Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 14 of season 1 of the F1 2020 McLaren driver career mode, where today we're here back for my favourite track on the Formula 1 calendar. Yes, we are here for the Belgian Grand Prix. Obviously, if you guys are new around here, make sure you get yourself subscribed. A big thank you for now 13,200 subscribers. We're trying to hit 14k at the moment, so if you could help me get one step closer to that, it would be greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, obviously, if you missed out on the last video from the Hungarian Grand Prix that went live over the weekend, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. But heading into Belgium, though, obviously the summer break is now done in the world of Formula 1. We still have the fourth fastest car currently in the sport, but the gap between ourselves, Ferrari and Red Bull, is pretty much nothing at the moment, as you can see on your screens. It must be at most, what, about 20 points, I'm going to guess, there or thereabouts. But yeah, we have got one more chassis upgrade currently in the works. We've got the weight redistribution on the plank. But anyway, yeah, let's head in then to my favourite track, like I said, the longest track on the Formula 1 calendar. It's time for the Belgian Grand Prix. Here we are then, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix qualifying session, the longest lap on the Formula 1 calendar. Therefore, we've got to try and make sure we get it absolutely nailed here this weekend. Running a rather aggressively low wing setup there. You can see 2.5 for those, but hopefully we'll still have some rotation in the middle sector. But here we are then, ready for round 14 of the season. Let's see if we can get a nice, good qualifying lap in. Like I've said before, this track definitely my favourite and one of my strongest up there with Monaco, as we get an awful run by the looks of it through turn 1 there. Hamilton streaking off into the distance as we head down in towards Eau Rouge and Rally on here. Keep it nice and tidy. Try and get a nice flat run off the X there and activate the DRS as early as you can as we head up the back straightaway here. Down the Camel Straight in towards the next chicane here. Braking just before the 50-metre board there, about halfway up the curb. Try and get it rotated through nice and tidily as we head down the hill once again. They're really trying to open up that corner as best as possible as we head now down in towards the hairpin. The off camber there, really just got to be sensible on the throttle as we try and get the power down through No Name, skimming the wall there on the exit of No Name. That's just how hard we're pushing at the moment. Drop it back down one gear as you head through Pouon, nice and attacking through there. The car's grip really working out quite nicely there, as you can see. Hamilton a long way up the road as we head now down in through the Fagnes chicane in towards Stabilo. Almost at the end of the lap already here as we just try and get a nice tidy run through. Use up the track width on the X there and avoid making a mistake through the second part of Stabilo, because it is a very long run up towards the final corners of the lap here. It looks like Mercedes have absolutely ran away with this one at the moment, or Hamilton has at the very least, as we head through Blanchemont. Easy flat now in modern Formula 1 cars. Slam on the anchors at about the 100-metre board in towards the final chicane there. Get the car rotated through the bus stop. Short shift back into third gear there, up towards the line. It's going to be P4 on the grid there. Very happy with that, despite the massive gap to Hamilton, who ended up putting it on pole position there. So yeah, rather surprised, but we will take it very happily nonetheless.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Bottas and Charles Leclerc. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. So
a very mixed up grid then. Hamilton half a second clear of Valtteri Bottas, who was a further 4 tenths or 3.5 tenths clear of Charles Leclerc there. So Mercedes pretty much have, what, close to a second over any other car around this circuit, but everyone else really tightly bunched up there. Myself splitting the Ferraris to start on the second row. Ricciardo ahead of both of the Red Bulls there. They all seem to be very tightly bunched on pace. Is what's that, 600ths of a second separate both Red Bulls and both Renaults there. Sergio Perez in 10th, and Lando Norris, our teammate, outside of the top 10 there, down in 11th place. So he will get fresh rubber for the start of the Grand Prix, but it seems like what really Ferrari, Renault, Red Bull, ourselves and Sergio Perez are all in a battle here for what, possibly even a podium in this Grand Prix. But we've done well in qualifying, we got the lap hooked up. Let's move on then here to the Belgian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. Why don't we start by talking about Valtteri Bottas? They come into this race with a healthy championship lead. I don't want to say the title race is over, but surely it's going to take something special or catastrophic to change the outcome at this point.
Certainly there are worse positions to be in, but it's vital they don't let complacency creep in. As soon as you let yourself think it's over before it actually is, that's where everything can and often will go wrong.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Mr. Monaco, Sebastian Vettel and Ricciardo, Verstappen, Albon, Ocon and Sergio Perez, Norris, Kvyat, Kimi Raikkonen and Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean and George Russell, Latifi, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for round 14 of the season from the Belgian Grand Prix. And looking at the weather, things could get spicy towards the end of this one. Belgium always provides some great racing, and the weather is always difficult to predict around this track as well. So I'm sure once again we could see something interesting happen in this race. But yeah, really happy that we were able to get the car onto the second row. I'm actually going to up the front wing by one, ready for the race there. I just felt we struggled a bit too much through the middle sector in qualifying, and obviously with the DRS, hopefully now I haven't just cost us all our momentum down the straights as well. But yeah, crazy to think we're already 2/3 of the way through this season. Let's dive in then here to the Belgian Grand Prix. Mercedes at the front. Hopefully we can hassle them today. 5 red lights and it's lights out. And away we go then, no hold at all. Luckily, Sebastian Vettel, who started behind us, doesn't get a good run, as they're 3 wide into the first corner. Look at that from Charles Leclerc, 2019 Grand Prix winner. He's making it 3 wide as they head down towards Eau Rouge for the first time. Bottas rather wisely backs out of that one, but a dream start by Charles Leclerc there as we got Sebastian Vettel looking up our inside. And look at that, yeah, Charles Leclerc and that Ferrari has mugged off both Mercedes at the start of this race with a bold move into the first corner there. Hamilton trying to look back around the outside there as Bottas just sort of sits back and tries to find his own space as we reach the top of the hill there. Obviously, memories of Hungary last time out where a Ferrari and Mercedes gave us front wing damage by going side by side. But look at that, Bottas now coming back at his teammate as they head down the hill. This is incredible racing from the top runners there. Daniel Ricciardo to get something inside of Sebastian Vettel there and thought about trying to make the double overtake work, as now Hamilton side by side with Bottas in towards P1 has to bail out of that one as well there. So dramatic start to the Grand Prix then. The top 3 have all reversed from their grid positions there. Charles Leclerc straight up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Mercedes have much better qualifying pace, but will they be able to hold on to it during the race here? Hamilton still seems to be looking rather quick, but everyone trying to capitalise off the start there. Ricciardo's made gains, and out of all of that, we're exactly where we were before it all began. So, funny enough, all the action seems to be happening around us there as we head up in towards Blanchimont for the first time in this race. So we have got a mega run on Lewis Hamilton here. We should be able to apply some pressure to the Mercedes. He just, though, covers it off in towards the bus stop chicane for the first time of 11 here. Get the power down nice and tidily on the exit. We've survived the opening lap. Now to see if we can apply some pressure, or will Mercedes just turn everything back up? Coming to the end of lap 2, we're desperately just trying to hang on to the DRS of the top runners here. We haven't had a good run at the final corner. You can see that the gap, just jumps over that 1 second mark as we head back down in through La Source for the 3rd time in this race. Can we get the power down? Can we stick in that DRS? I think we've just about done it this time around there. Ricciardo just outside of ours, so I'm sure he's going to be under some pressure from Sebastian Vettel as we head up the Kemmel Straight for the first time with the DRS in this Grand Prix. I think this is going to be absolutely critical if we want to try and hang on to the Mercedes and Charles Leclerc in this Grand Prix, and hopefully as well we're building up a gap to the guys behind. Ricciardo still doing a worldly for us by defending from the other runners. Oh, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix out of nowhere. Guessing we just use all of our ERS on that lap to try and close up this gap. We haven't got much to use now, unfortunately, when we do want to go on attack mode on Lewis Hamilton. We might try it this time round as we head down the hill in towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the 4th time in this Grand Prix. Really attack the curbs on the exit there this time round. Much better curbing than it used to be around this track. You really can lean on him on the exit. As you can see, Bottas getting pushed right to the inside by Charles Leclerc there. An incredibly brave and bold move by the Finnish driver, but don't say he's going to pull that off. What is the Bottas in this game, and where is he in real life there? A mega move by Valtteri. He takes the lead of this Belgian Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc slots back down into P2, but we have still got 4 cars from 3 different teams battling it out for the race victory here. The gap really opening up to Danny Rick behind, as you don't want to hit that curb through Poo on. A big wobble there from the back end. Luckily we hold on to it this time round, but often not so lucky as we head in towards the Fanyas chicane. Are we now going to see Hamilton try and get past, as Bottas already looks to be trying to break free? Launchmon Hamilton is all over the back of Charles Leclerc here. He's going to have a look to the outside as we head into the bus stop, but Charles Leclerc very aggressively defending from Lewis Hamilton there, the 6-time Formula 1 World Champion in this universe. But you can see at the final corner, it's really helped us get close again to all of these guys as we head back down in towards turn 1. Obviously this time round, Bottas, he's going to have no DRS to defend with. I'm pretty certain Charles Leclerc is still within range, but look at how little ERS we've got as well. They're down to just 20% as Hamilton's engine's gone as we head up in towards Eau Rouge there. That was almost a monster shunt, but the poor Lewis Hamilton out of the Belgian Grand Prix there, right in front of us. The engine completely gave way. Very surprised we haven't seen a safety car in that scenario, but now the battle for the lead turns into just 3 of us, still from 3 separate teams, and that is an absolute godsend for Valtteri Bottas in his World Championship hunt. There is a big opportunity now to pull away even more points from Lewis Hamilton. Coming to the end of lap 5, we are going to have to dive it in as well at the end of this one, onto a set of the medium compounded tyres to try and go to the end of this race. I'm very intrigued to see whether Bottas and Leclerc are going to do the same. Bottas stays out, Charles Leclerc stays out as well, so this could be either strategy gain or a huge blunder from ourselves as we try to get the car slowed down into the pit lane there. We've got a fair few of the other runners in. As you can see, Mercedes, I'm guessing they were trying to do one of their baity pit stops, but have we got the gap over the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo? No, we don't. We're going to get held in the pits behind the Renault man there. Luckily, that hasn't cost us too much time, but it certainly isn't ideal as well, as we're going to come back out of the pits, I think, in just a little bit of traffic towards the rear of the field. Hopefully we can get some slipstream off someone. Oh, big wobble as we head out of the pit lane there. We're going to come out just behind Romain Grosjean in this Grand Prix as we head back down in through Eau Rouge and Raidillon once again in this race. Now with the DRS and the ERS, we're going to try and get back past the Frenchman. Obviously, he's had a couple of very good races around this circuit before. Seems 2020 isn't going to be one of them. Round the Frenchman and back up into 11th. Coming down in towards Blanchimont then, we've got Bottas and Leclerc. Even, I should say, back into the pit lane. A few more guys are staying out, as we've actually got some DRS off Kevin Magnussen as well in this Grand Prix. Not too sure why the Danish driver is staying out for another lap here, but hopefully it'll help us out. There is Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc as they just head back in through turn 1. Obviously, they'll have a shorter run out of the pits. There is Charles Leclerc. So he has only come out right in front of us then, as Bottas seems to have made a bit of a gain through the pit stop window here. We're going to have to try and get back past the pair of them as we get a big slingshot up over the top of the hill there. You can see Magnussen sat in the way of Charles Leclerc. We're going to try and make it 3 wide as we get all on the grass there. Magnussen tries to slam the door shut as well. Charles Leclerc nowhere to go. A bit of contact with K-Mag there as we head up towards the end of the straight, but that was, well, it wasn't even close. There was contact there in the end, but that was, I think, one of the bravest moves I've ever tried to pull off on F1 2020 there, and Charles Leclerc still stuck behind the Haas driver there, as we now are in pursuit of Valtteri Bottas. Coming towards the end of lap 8 then. I'm not trying to give up on Valtteri Bottas just yet. I've only just noticed as well, he's actually on a set of hard compound tyres here, as we another new fastest lap of the Grand Prix with just 3 to go here from Belgium. And you can see, yeah, Bottas on those hards though seems a bit of an old strategy call from Mercedes, and it does potentially allow us to open up something in this Grand Prix, even if it's just more psychological than anything else here. We're not going to give up on this just yet, even if we just get one shot at the end of the Grand Prix. You guys know me, if you watch the My Team career mode, I'm always going to try and take it. 2 laps to go then here from Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, and you can see now we've just about got the DRS on Valtteri Bottas here. That's absolutely critical. Even if we can't open up a move this time around, another new fastest lap as well. It just means we can get a little bit closer with a little bit of free time, despite running very, very low on the ERS there. We don't get a good run though out of turn 1. Is that going to cost us? The gap is going to be, I think, only just under the 1 second mark. We will get confirmation. Yes, we do. We just about keep it under that 1 second mark there. It must have been by thousandths of a second that we're able to stick in the DRS here, but we've got less than 2 laps to go. We need to be close to Bottas on the final lap to really have any chance of making anything happen here. 1 lap to go then, and as always, the Belgian Grand Prix looks to be providing another dramatic finish to a race here. We've had so many good races recently on the channel, so many close finishes. I just cannot believe it at the moment. We don't get a good run at the final corner as we get ready to start the final lap of this race. But are we going to be potentially close enough to give Bottas a bit of a run for his money up the Camel Straight there? Really trying to ease on the power as we head out of the first turn and make sure we boost out, give ourselves the best run we can. And look at that, Bottas clearly doesn't have much energy in reserve himself as we head up through Rouge and Radion for the final time in this Grand Prix. We have got a good run on the fin, but we've got next to no ERS to do anything with as well. Bottas goes defensive. We move into the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time all race there. We just about get the car slowed down as we head through the chicane there. Try and get the car pointed through nice and tidily. A little bit of a wobble on the exit there as the team is still saying rain is expected. It's certainly not going to come before the end of this Grand Prix. I'd almost completely forgot about that, I'll be honest, in this race there. We'll get a good run down the hill as we head in towards Pouhon for the final time. Don't clip the curb. We don't need any mistakes. Actually running a bit wide on the exit there as we head down in towards the final sector of this Belgian Grand Prix. Keep it tidy, keep it clean, and we could be on for our 2nd win of the season there. Mercedes had the pace throughout qualifying, but Hamilton's engine failure and Bottas' strategy blunder has really opened this up. Do not do that on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Is Bottas going to be close enough to go for anything up in towards the final couple of corners of this race? He's not even gaining on us. Bottas, he's got nothing left to give in that Mercedes car as we head in towards the final corners of the Belgian Grand Prix. It's always a strong track for myself on pace, and through the final turn, we are going to win here at the Belgian Grand Prix for the first time on F1 2020.
Yes, you've done it. Well done.
McLaren have pulled it off. They've won in spectacular fashion here today. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm really happy to see them there on the top step of the podium. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
It's got to be Lando Norris, hasn't it? Smooth, confident and assured. I've got no doubt that he and his team are going to be over the moon with his performance today.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So there we are then, guys. 0.3 of a second was all that separated Valtteri Bottas and the Grand Prix victory this weekend there. But a real blunder from Mercedes. I'll be honest, after qualifying, I really thought it was going to be one of those races where maybe, just maybe, we could get Charles Leclerc at the start as we watch the Mercedes romp away. We could try and get another podium on the board there. But the second win in 3 races for the team, our 3rd win of the year as well. We are certainly a force to be reckoned with now in Formula 1. China was a bit of a strategy fluke. Britain was, again, a little bit of a pace fluke. It sort of came out of nowhere in the end there. But this weekend, Mercedes really did drop the ball, and we were the quickest car to capitalise in the end there. Charles Leclerc got a bit held up behind K-Mag, but still came through for P3 ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who snagged the fastest lap right at the very end there. Lando having a fantastic recovery. I was very worried about him after qualifying, but he did finish P5 there, and I don't really think we could have expected much more from him ahead of Verstappen, Ricciardo, Perez, Kvyat, and Esteban Ocon rounding out the top 10 there at the end of the day. The only major surprises, I think Alex Albon down in 11th place there, and obviously Hamilton not making it to the checkered flag. But that means in the World Championship, Charles Leclerc actually jumps Hamilton now up into P2 of the World Championship, as we're only 11 points back behind the pair of them there. So maybe, just maybe, P2 is on in the World Drivers' Championship if we continue to get good results between now and the end of the season there. Bottas, though, a 76-point race championship lead, though. He probably is looking to wrap this up by, what, COTA? Maybe Mexico if things don't quite go his way. But in this second half of the season there. Further down the order, though, Danny Kvyat finally gets his first points on the board there. Jumps Magnussen and Gasly as well as Grosjean there, leaving just the Williams cars yet to get out of the starting blocks. And that means constructors-wise, we are just 45 points, actually, off Ferrari. So maybe a late championship surge from ourselves could open up something there. And AlphaTauri, with those 2 points, get back past Haas as well for P8 overall in the Constructors' World Championship. But thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribing. Yeah, we will be back very soon with round 15 of the season where we head to the Temple of Speed. We'll be ready for the Italian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.